Okay. All right, welcome. Thank you all for coming out tonight. My name is Kim Hoeschel. I'm the Vestry member. Oh, let me take my mask off for a quick minute while I do the introduction. The Vestry member for education. And before I do my introduction of Louis, I'm just going to let you know there are restrooms through this door or through the narthex back there to the left from this side, and that we'll take questions at the end if you'll hold your questions. And so now it's my pleasure to introduce Louis Robert Lee. He is an enrolled member of the Seneca Nation, and he's going to talk to us tonight about the religion of the Haudenosaunee. How about that? Louis belongs to the Code of the Handsome Lake, the religion of the Iroquois Six Nations Confederacy. So he's going to explain all this to us tonight because this is all new to me as well. Louis's wife Heather is here, and he attends Advent with her. And so since Heather's an Episcopalian, I think Louis can help us see some similarities in our spirituality and our worship practices, and draw some distinctions for us as well. Louis's Beaver Clan name means something from the clouds, and I'm not going to attempt that pronunciation. I tried it a couple times, but I couldn't get it. So something from the clouds, and my pleasure, here's Louis Lee.
Thank you, Kim. And everybody hear me well? Thank you. I'll greet with my introduction with some words from our language. Our language is a common language among the Six Nations, and I'll start with Skeno Dine. It's wishing you well, it's a greeting. And Nyawa Skeno Gugine. Nyawa Ganega is, Nyawa Yo, Iko, Nyawane, Unadake. Nixadio, Iko, Nyawane, Gia. What I said in my thanking my family, Yo is my wife, Unadake is my son, Ganege is my daughter, and Gia is our dog. So dogs are very important as part of the family. Nyawa Hadinyo. Hadinyo means the people who are here who are non-native. Iko, Nyawane, Hanyao, Yenyao, men and women. And I am a Onkeonwe. That's our word for people, all native people we call Turtle Island. When the Iroquois and a lot of the Indians in the East Coast started traveling, they traveled all over. They saw that the earth was like a great turtle. So turtles are very important to us. So this is the Isle of Turtles. I'm from the Allegheny Reservation. I was about 60 miles south of Buffalo, New York. And my family now lives on the Cattaraugus Indian Reservation, which is 30 miles south. There are 5 big reservations in western New York: the Seneca, the Tonawanda, and the Tuscarora. The Senecas have 3 reservations, the Tuscarora have the 4th, and there's a small reservation that's down in Pennsylvania near Oil City, they call it. My people are the Haudenosaunee. The word Haudenosaunee means people of the Longhouse. The Longhouse are places where the clans lived. Each clan would have a longhouse. They could be anywhere from 100 to 300 feet long, and that whole family would live within that longhouse. Made of bark, and it was like a 2-story building, and it was quite complex. And a little bit of what I'm wearing. My headdress, made with partridge feathers and what they call German silver. The Iroquois, Haudenosaunee, traded with the Dutch, so this was a German silver type thing. And the one eagle feather indicates that I'm a member of the Seneca Nation. If there was a feather leaning back on an angle like this, that means that person would be a Cayuga Nation. And 2 feathers would be the Onondaga Nation, and 1 feather up and 1 feather down would be the Oneida Nation, and 3 eagle feathers would be a Mohawk Nation. So anytime you see a person, or back then, that you know where they came from. I'm a member of the Beaver Clan. There are 8 clans. There are 4 clans of the sky and 4 clans of the earth. I'm a member of the earth clans. It would be the Beaver Clan, the Bear Clan, the wolf, turtle, and bear, and the beaver would be the earth clans. And the sky clans would be the hawk, the heron, the deer, and the snipe. The reason for the clan names is the clans of the earth cannot marry within the clans. The clans of the sky cannot marry within. So if I were a beaver clan, I could not marry within my own group. I'd have to marry. So they knew of genetics many, many years before it was probably even thought of. So, and furthermore, what I'm wearing is anytime you saw a real Native American, they'd be wearing a medicine bag. So that's what that would be. The beadwork around here indicates that I'm a member of the Iroquois Confederacy. Beadwork on my, I call them mud flaps. They're not really mud flaps. This is the sacred tree of life. And within here, each one of these circles indicates the universe. And within that universe is corn, beans, and squash. So all my beadwork means something on everything I wear. And in the middle is the sacred tobacco plant. Tobacco came from North America, and unfortunately, a lot of people made cigarettes out of it and cigars, but it did come from here. And we use it as a ceremony. We smoke it as a way of sending a prayer to the Creator. The thing about our language and about our religion is that we never ask for anything. It's always a thank you to the Creator for being who He is and what He does for us. Before every presentation, they call it something called Guin Yah Geyh, which is the Great Thanksgiving. And before every ceremony or every religious meeting, the speaker would get up and do the Guin Yah Geyh. I'll go over very quickly because some of the speakers will go on for 15 minutes on becoming very detailed on things like plants and what they do for you, or the moon, and what it's done for, and the sun, the wind. And I'll just do a quick one. The Seneca traditionally open each close in the beginning, the religious gathering, they do a sacred prayer, the Thanksgiving address. It's lengthy oration dating back to the founding of the Iroquois Confederacy. It follows the natural sequence of the earth, the sky, the Creator. The address recognizes and gives thanks to the contributions that plant, animals, and natural elements give to the humble human beings. The following is a brief version of the Seneca's Thanksgiving address to English. We put our minds together as one and give thanks to the Creator for each of the gifts which contribute to our happiness and the way we walk the earth. The people, we give thanks and greetings to gathered all here. We've been given a duty to live harmoniously with all living things and to share the knowledge of our culture and ceremonies. We are responsible that our cycle continues from elders to children, and now our minds are one. The earth, we give thanks to Mother Earth, who contributes to provide for us. The women and mother of the earth are one, givers of life, and now our minds are one. Water, we give greetings and thanks to the waters which provide for our strength, well-being, and all life, including directions and bring us strength, fresh air, and rain. Thunders, we give thanks to the grandfather thunders, which last week Mr. Thunder came and woke us up pretty early. Anyway, and then the sun. The sun, we turn our thoughts to the sky. Our elder brother, the sun, provides light, warmth with the sunrise. We see all our gifts that we've been given by the Creator. Our brother is the source of all fires of life. The moon. During the nighttime, we see our grandmother, moon. Her cycle is in harmony with all female life. Her power determines birth, times, plant growth, and the tides of the waters. Our grandmother contributes to lead us, continues to lead us. We are grateful and express our thanksgiving. The stars. The stars are helpers of grandmother's moon. They've spread themselves across the sky. The stars provide morning dew, guidance, and direction. They tell us when to plant and observe ceremonies. The good message. We acknowledge Handsome Lake as a carrier of the good word. We give greetings and thoughts that he should lead us on a path to personal betterment, and now our minds are one. Finally, the Creator. Now we turn our thoughts to the Creator himself. He is known to us as a great mystery, and he asked that the people take care and respect his creations. We see that all things are faithful to their duties as he instructed them. Therefore, we gather our minds into one and give great thanksgiving to the Creator. Handsome Lake. This is the code of Handsome Lake. He was what they call a riverman. Back then, the timbermen would cut timber and they'd line it up on the edge of the rivers. The Allegheny River runs through their Allegheny Reservation, where I'm from. And the loggers through the winter would stack it up, and they'd make sure that it would not roll into the river until spring floods came. When the spring floods came, they'd release the logs into the water. And all through the Allegheny River, all the way up to the top, the logs would float down. And what they call a riverman would travel and make sure the logs didn't jam up. And when they jammed up, it was his responsibility to get the logs free to float the river down to Pittsburgh. So Handsome Lake was one of those men that did that work, very dangerous work. But he was also not really a good person. I shouldn't say a good person, but he was misdirected. I guess he was involved with alcohol, and he went into a coma. And his family were very, from the chiefs, all religious people, and they were very concerned. And in his coma, two beings came to him, and they led him up to heaven. And he showed them all the things in heaven that were there, the family, the longhouse, the people. And while he was there, he saw one of his friends. He said, "Jay, I just talked to him yesterday. He's the captain of the lacrosse team today." I guess that is one of the things when a lacrosse player dies, he goes to heaven, he becomes captain of the day. So, I played a lot of lacrosse. I played in high school, I played in semi-pro lacrosse, and I played at Syracuse University. So I've coached for about 40 years, high school and grade school. So hopefully when I pass away, hopefully if I go to heaven, I'll be the captain of the team for the day. So anyway, Handsome Lake also saw a vision of hell. And in that vision, he saw a man who used to beat his wife. He was condemned to hell to have a molten woman made of steel, red hot, and that person was condemned to eternity to be striking that woman that was an image. So, and the cards were one of the things that gambling was one of the things he had. And there would be a bunch of people sitting around gambling, playing with cards, and each card was red hot, so that for eternity they were there playing cards. So that was his idea, or that was his vision of hell, among other things. But the Code of Handsome Lake is very lengthy. Every year they have one big ceremony, and it's the New Year's, the Haudenosaunee New Year's. It's around January, late January, and it goes for 7 days. And in those 7 days, the Code of Handsome Lake is told. So it's a lengthy thing. It's very complex. Let's see what else I got here. Oh, on your way to heaven, I don't know if anyone's ever smelled the flowers from the wild strawberries. Strawberries are very, very important to the Haudenosaunee. And if I start smelling strawberries in my walking, it means I'm on my way to heaven. And I don't know if I'm going to smell when I head down south, but the Hiawatha Belt. In 1114, the peacemaker came across the Lake Oneida, and he brought the message of peace to the Haudenosaunee, which are the Iroquois Six Nations, 5 nations originally. They were continuously at battle, and it was not a very healthy or a good place to live. And he started preaching among the Haudenosaunee the ways that they should be a peaceful people. And this belt, I don't know if you can see it very well, but it symbolizes by the 5 nations, the Seneca, Cayuga, Onondaga, Oneida, and the Mohawk nations were the original 5 nations. And the Hiawatha Belt is the first draft of the Constitution of the United States. The belt shows that the original 5 nations are Iroquois, with the tree of peace in the center. The tree of peace is a symbol of the great law known as the Iroquois Constitution, which is the oldest living democracy on earth. Ben Franklin and Thomas Jefferson used the great law of peace to help write the U.S. Constitution. The Haudenosaunee people of the Longhouse, also known as the Iroquois Confederacy, influenced that founding fathers' ideas concerning democracy, thought, and helped forge the idea of federalism that led to what has become the Constitution of the United States. Our way of life, I think many people think that the natives here were kind of just a wild bunch of people running around in the woods. Unfortunately, sometimes they are, but mostly they're very concerned with the environment, the way of life, and the ways of our ways are, I think, very, very good. And I know I've been asked to speak about our religion. The Longhouse Religion, with the Code of Handsome Lake, is held in what they call a longhouse. And it's a very complex religion. Women are the leaders. I know that for many, many years they've contributed to the way our lives are directed. They selected the chiefs. There are 8 clans, as I mentioned before, and each clan had a clan mother. And she was the one that elected the chief, and she was the one that watched over the chiefs and made sure that they ran the government the way it should be run. One of the things that is in the Longhouse religion is that if I marry outside my religion, I'll be condemned to hell. And fortunately, my wife is part Iroquois, so I guess I'm somewhat saved so far. Another important thing I showed you before was a wampum belt. It's about this long, all made of wampum. Wampum beads are small shells. They're purple and white, and that's what that is. Another great treaty that was done was called the Guswenta. The Dutch and the Iroquois, Haudenosaunee, were great friends. They traded with the people in Albany, and my wife's Dutch, half Dutch, so I think it was good to marry one. Anyway, the two-row wampum was done in 1613. The belt recognizes the sovereignty of the Haudenosaunee and the Europeans who came here. The 2 rows of dark wampum represent 2 paths or vessels traveling down the same river together. It would be the Hudson River. One vessel, a canoe, representing the Haudenosaunee, their laws, customs, and way of life. The other, a ship representing white people, their laws and customs and way of life. Each travels side by side, but in their own boats. Neither will make compulsory laws or interfere in the internal affairs of the other. Neither will try to steer the other's vessel. Those roads are divided by a field of white wampum, signifying peace, respect, and friendship. Very, very, very important belt. Again, a wampum belt. Again, it's about this long. Wampum, everyone thought, was used as money. It really wasn't. It was used to make treaty belts. A little bit more about what I'm wearing, too, again. These things on my legs are hoofs of a deer. And the Haudenosaunee, in their ceremonies, they have social dancing. And they sing songs that are very thankful for the animals. Like there's a robin dance, a rabbit dance, a raccoon dance. Each one's different. There's an old moccasin dance. But the real ceremonies are they're 4 times a year. And in those ceremonies, you'll see men dressed as I am right now. And so I'm dressed as they would be in the sacred ceremonies. I've worked many, many years in corporate life, so I do have a European suit. So, a little bit about where I was born and brought up. On the Allegheny Reservation, all my family spoke the Seneca language. And so when I was little, that's the only language I knew. So sometimes I have trouble with English. But it was a great way to be brought up when we were very religious. And a lot of people see a lot of Indians like out west, a lot of Navajo nations, some of the Iroquois, who appear to be very poor. But being poor is not a way of life to them. It is a way of life because being wealthy and showing off with fancy cars and fancy giant homes and things like that is not their way. They're very religious. So the religious is very strong. So my wife and I were out to see the Navajo Nation, and they seem to be very poor, but I think they're probably far, far more religious than most people. So I was brought up when I was young. We went to a one-room schoolhouse, and we were taught a lot of things. We had good teachers, a few Indian teachers, but most of them were European. And from there, I went to a grade school, which is kind of a central school, but it was all Indian. And then my family moved from the Allegheny Reservation to the Cattaraugus Reservation. And there they had something called a Thomas Indian School. It was something like Carlisle, where the Indian orphans were brought in. And I was a day student there, so I was exposed to a lot of the ways of the people from the Thomas Indian School. And unfortunately, a lot of the schools like that now have been found to have buried a lot of poor kids who passed away, and I think they found close to 700 or 800 kids buried now. So they're still looking to see that would happen. And they were forced to not speak the language, and it was unfortunate because about 60 years ago, the Longhouse was very sparsely attended. And now people have become more attuned to the way of the Haudenosaunee. And the Longhouse now, there's 300-400 people standing room only to get in. So even though the language is, that Seneca language is the only language, or the Haudenosaunee language is spoken, a lot of people are attending and they're learning the language. It's great to see our culture coming back to where it should be. There are things in the Longhouse that I don't agree with. I'm sure a lot of you don't agree with some of the things your religion teaches you. One of them is that only people who have a clan can attend. And it didn't always be that way. When I was really young, we had a lot of Quakers. Quakers from this area were there. They were helping the Haudenosaunee with their legal, and they were teaching them ways of agriculture. So a lot of times the people from the Quaker community would be sitting in a longhouse right along with all the chiefs and the women. So that was a great thing. But now a lot of the young people say, well, let's go back to the old ways. And sometimes the old ways, is their interpretation of how it should be. So I disagree with some of the things they're doing now. But still, it's a great religion. I think it's very outstanding in its meaning. Peaceful. The great peace of the Iroquois. Very, very, very powerful group. Ben Franklin called the Haudenosaunee the Romans of the New World. We control the areas from the Mississippi River to the Atlantic, and from the Hudson's Bay down to the Carolinas. That was the sphere of the Iroquois Confederacy at its height of the 15th and 16th, and more part of the 17th century. And this area was controlled by what they call the Mohawk Nation. It's northern Vermont, and they were very powerful along with the Senecas. Three of the big nations fought with the British during the Revolution. My family fought with the British, and the Cayugas fought with the British, as did the Mohawk. The Onondaga and the Oneida Nation stayed neutral. And they got punished, but it was too bad. A lot of the Mohawk Nation people, because the revolution was won by the Americans, they had fought for the British. A lot of the families went to Canada. So in Canada, about 60 miles, 50 miles west of Toronto, is a large Six Nation territory. And they're even more religious than the people in my reservations, because they're very, very devout Haudenosaunee. The word Iroquois, it's a funny way. It's not an Iroquois name. It's not a Haudenosaunee name. It's a name given to the Jesuits interpreted a name from, I think, the Cree or the Huron. And Iroquois means an evil being or a snake or something like that. So we really don't like the word Iroquois, but it's been given to us by the Europeans and the Jesuits. So we accept it, but in our way, we're Haudenosaunee, people of Longhouse. I've attended a lot of religious meetings, and a lot of preachers get up and say, my sermon's going to be very short. And sometimes I almost fall asleep with them. So I've also been in a corporate life. I left the reservation. Went to Syracuse University, because ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to be an art director in Manhattan, a New York City art director, my great ambition. And I never dreamed it would possibly ever be. And I was fortunate enough to get a degree in advertising design from Syracuse. And I left the reservation when I was, about 26 or 27. And I married my wife, Heather. I met her at college. And I moved to Manhattan. And moving off the reservation to Manhattan, it's like going to the moon. It's really, really strange transition. But then I did become a Madison Avenue art director. I achieved what I really always wanted to do. And I think if you are happy with what you do, was so anxious to get up in the morning to do what I was going to do, to design, do creative work, that I said, I don't understand why people would pay me to do so much that I really, really loved. We had some fairly big clients, my wife and I. We had Pillsbury was one of our clients. Häagen-Dazs was a major client. Unilever was another really big client. But all through this time, I've learned a lot in the business world, in the executive world, but I still go back to the way I was born and brought up as a Haudenosaunee. I'll take questions now, if anyone has any questions. Well, before I continue, but between in college, a lot of the Iroquois people were ironworkers. Ironworkers are the people that put up the structures. Like the Empire State Building was put up mostly by Mohawk. And during my college, and I had a little bit about a year after college, I worked as an ironworker. way up on top. So I think I somewhat earned the name of walking this something from the clouds. So it was great. I really, really enjoyed it, and it's good that the Haudenosaunee people are in Buffalo. Local 6 is comprised of 90% Iroquois, so Haudenosaunee. So okay, if Kim's
Okay,
ready.
let's see, we have a question that came in over the, because we're live streaming this. It says, sorry, I had a misspelling, new question. Oh, do they have a religious calendar? Well, that's,
Religious calendar?
yeah.
Yes, they go by the moon. So everything is conducted by the moon, and each ceremony, people ask me, how would you know that the Confederacy was formed in 1114? They go back to things like the eclipse and really things from the sky. So they're pretty accurate. Another people like the Aztecs and the Incas were tremendous people with stars and astrology. And so we always gone by our ways of looking at the stars and finding out where we are.
Anybody else have a question? I'll come by with the microphone. Yes, Chris.
I'm sorry. Kim, would you ask?
Yeah.
Is your tribe like polytheistic or monotheistic? In other words, like, do they believe in many gods or just one singular God?
We have one God, and that's the Creator. I can't think of one Indian nation across the country that doesn't have the Creator as our person, or the person. And as far as society, it's a matriarchal society. Because my wife is not Seneca, my children are not considered Senecas, even though they've got more Indian blood than my sister's children, who she married, also Dutchman, but he's not part Indian at all. So it's a matriarchal society. I think is really good because the men were always off to traveling to other nations in diplomacy, or they're off to war somewhere else. So the women controlled everything, controlled property, and they controlled pretty much the way of life. They pretty much ran the Confederacy.
So was Jesus figured into the religion at all?
There's words that Jesus had come among the Iroquois, Haudenosaunee, and he had 12 people with him, and I guess they were considered the apostles. And he left. He left, and he went to Europe and that way. And he came back apparently, and he had a wound in his side. He said, "There'll never be peace in the Middle East." He said, "The people will forever, never, ever be peaceful." He said he was glad to be back among the Haudenosaunee because their great goal in life was peace. So it's within our prophecies, and many prophecies, like now that the Haudenosaunee are concerned about the way that Earth is being treated. One of the things is forecast could happen is the waters would turn green. And if you've looked around, you'll see the waters are turning green. So that's, people are not honoring Mother Nature. The way we look at things is that we are no more important than a deer or a bear or a tree. Everything has a spirit. Trees have a spirit. Even places around us have spirits. I do a lot of hunting back on a reservation, and there are places where I go to where there are no animals. And animals don't cross that area because it's not sacred ground. So spirits are everywhere. Yes, sir.
How did the different Iroquois nations like the Senecas and et cetera, how did they accept, or did they interact with missionaries, Christian missionaries? early in the, 1600s. Was there an interaction there, and was it good? Was it bad? I mean, it seems to me that Christian teachings would differ significantly, especially given what you just said about everything had a spirit.
A lot of the Mohawks were exposed to the French Jesuit priest. And so a lot of them went over to that religion. But then they started to become more sickness. Tuberculosis, smallpox, now diabetes is kicking in all over Indian nations. And they decided that what they call them black robes are a detriment to their way of life. So they killed off a lot of the Jesuits, and they went back to the Haudenosaunee way. But the Senecas and most of the Haudenosaunee were aware of the European way of religious. My great-great-grandfather is one of the descendants of all the chiefs. He said, in order to understand someone, you have to really understand the way they think in their religion. And I think I've always been curious about the Jewish religion, the Christian religion, and Muslim, and I think it's a good thing to know. I think my great-great-grandfather had it right, and he said, before you know someone and their people, understand how they think.
Thank you.
So, you talked about heaven. Was there any room for reincarnation?
Was there sorry?
Was reincarnation part of the religion?
No, it was not reincarnation. You passed away, you went up and joined the people in heaven, your family, and no, reincarnation was not part of it. Yes, ma'am.
How did you, I know you name, I'm sure you have an Indian
My
name.
Indian name, Guin Yah Geyh?
And how do you determine that name?
That name is thousands of years old. And when someone is born within the clans, the 4 clans, the earth, they have names picked out. And when someone passes away, that name goes back into the library, into the clan mother. And the clan mother would, when someone's born, that observes that child. And as that child fits into the way that person who had passed away fits that, then that name would be given to that person. So my name is probably 10,000 years old, Guin Yah Geyh.
And the second question?
The second question is, you said everyone carries, you have a medicine bag.
They what?
Does,
Sorry?
you have a medicine bag?
Medicine bag, yeah. Medicine bag, there's medicines that, my grandmother was a great medicine person. She knew cures for headaches, pretty much everything there is. And I think modern medicine should probably have met with my grandmother because she had almost a cure for everything. But a lot of the cures that the Indians had for their way of sickness was not the sickness that was brought over by the Europeans. So it's, a lot of my stuff in here is really, really good, but it's not good against COVID-19.
Louis, I have a question from somebody online here.
Okay?
Bruce says, Navajo have demons called skinwalkers. Do you have something similar?
Yes, we do. That's skinwalkers are the Navajo Nation people, what they talk about that. We have something called a Geyh. A Geyh is a person that can be either a really, really good person or it can be a really evil person. So it depends how that Geyh thinks. So that's very similar to the Navajo Nation way. Well, football game's going to come on in a few little whiles. I know you guys want to get back and see the game, bro.
How did the mother get picked? Of the tribe,
The clan mother?
the clan mother.
The clan mother, she'd be elected by the women in her clan to be the leader. And if they thought she'd be a great representative of them, then she became that leader. And when there's something called 7 generations. I know Ronald Reagan was talking about 7 generations, and some of the politicians still speak of it. 7 generations mean that any law or anything passed has to start with a person within the family. And it goes to the mother. Then from the mother, it'll go to the clan mother. Then the clan mother would take it to the chiefs, and the chiefs would take it to the council. So any decision that was made had to take into account 7 generations in the future, and had to look back 7 generations in the past to see how that law or the thing to be passed worked from that time on. So.
I feel like we've just scratched the surface, Louis, but it's been so interesting. And thank you very, very much for coming and giving us some insight and answering our questions and sharing. I will just say, maybe many of us have never had the opportunity to meet a Native American and have a conversation about religion. So it's been a great pleasure to have you here
Well,
tonight.
it's been a pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much.
Our way of life is Guin Yah Geyh, which means there is no goodbye in our language, and there are no curse words either. And Guin Yah Geyh means until we meet again.
Very good, thank you. Until we meet again. Thank you all for coming. It was great. All right, have a great night. Safe drives home.
Again, Yahweh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.